So there's a new thing I want to institute for this episode, starting with this episode, in which we actually discuss, what's the word I'm looking for here? We actually discuss the genre and what makes the genre that we're doing the genre. You can see the air quotes if you're watching this on YouTube because we don't really have, and we don't really have genres sometimes. Sometimes we just do shit like let's talk about 3 films that are sort of similar and we'll call it some arbitrary thing. Like we're doing Manic Pixie Dream Girls in a few weeks and that's just a trope. That's more than it is a genre. But
it makes it interesting.
I know, and so I want to talk a little bit about Robin Williams then, I guess.
Before we preface this with a talk. Meant to be a tribute.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Because it's hard to really describe what I felt about Robin Williams because he consistently made the type of movie that I hate more than anything.
Oh, Buttercup.
Like the movie that everybody else liked because it had a really simplistic message about being a better person. When in reality the movie was just kind of shitty the whole way.
No.
And it kind of creates this stupid, like Patch Adams. Patch Adams is a movie that was incredibly popular. Right? Like it was like the 20th highest grossing movie of the year that year. It's a movie that people will still use in pop culture references today. It's a movie that I hate simply because it makes this really simple anti-establishment message. And so
yes.
Robin Williams was always in those movies, so it was very hard for me to get behind his career a lot, especially in the middle to late 90s there. He did a lot of those Good Will Hunting, Patch Adams type films.
We kind of covered this before, but he was definitely his own stereotype.
He was.
And I want to state up front that that's not entirely a bad thing.
Because despite the fact that he is his own stereotype, Robin Williams is really damn funny when it comes to improvising.
He is.
He is great at riffing. And like we can see that within Good Morning Vietnam, all of those radio sequences are all improvised. It's just him riffing. And those are so funny. That's easily like... Well, I don't know if that's the best part of Good Morning Vietnam, but it's really, really damn funny. And, as much as I like to say that I didn't like most of his movies, Robin Williams was actually a good actor. Like, he won an Academy Award. He should have won more. He probably should have won 2 or 3 Academy Awards. And at the same time, he was an actor that a lot of people was just like, oh, that's a funny man. But in a way...
Being funny takes a lot of effort.
But in a way, though, like, you wouldn't kind of... classify somebody like Adam Sandler or Will Ferrell as a great actor per se. Robin Williams, you could...
They're the kind of person I label brain-dead comedy.
Yeah, but at the same time, you would...
Robin Williams is a bit more...
I mean, okay, how about Andy Samberg? Okay, Andy Samberg is somebody that...
Not really familiar with him.
Yeah, okay, so you're not going to get this. But Andy Samberg is somebody that recently just graduated from being on SNL, and he's not somebody I would classify as a great actor yet, but he could end up being Robin Williams in a few years because he actually understands film, and that was the thing that Robin Williams, he was trained through Juilliard. He was classically trained as an actor before he became a comedian. Right? Like he knows how to act. Yeah, and you can see it in a lot of his films. He could the one thing that I mentioned on Directors Club when we talked a little bit about Robin Williams before we actually got into the other segments of the show, and I said he had this uncanny ability to go from the super serious scene to the funny scene back to the emotional serious scene just like that. And I think that was what his greatest strength was as an actor.
He was... Comedies from people like Will Ferrell in particular. Sorry, man. It just doesn't do it for me. I've never really watched his movies. Ugh. I'm getting cut out again because
we're both getting cut out. I'm sorry, my camera is just terrible. I'm sorry, Caitlin. I couldn't fix it.
Try harder. I never really felt sympathy for his character because I never really enjoyed the joke. Even in the Robin Williams movies where I wasn't enjoying the joke, aforementioned unspeakable thing that had Patch in it, I did still sympathize with his character. And even if your laughing skill to pull that off is an accomplishment, but even more so when you weren't laughing, to be able to kind of do that 180 and still kind of get on board. He played that, how to describe it? It's not entirely slapstick, but there's the physical comedy, and it's kind of always this not necessarily aged but wise character. He was someone you could relate to at the end of the day after you were done laughing with him.
And I think that's really what made him such a good, not such a classical actor, but probably like one of the greatest comedians of all time, simply because he had this kind of almost Woody Allen-esque quality where he could take this simple story and elevate it into something more. Like if you think about Woody Allen's career, all of Woody Allen's films are basically something like, oh, a guy meets a girl at a bar. Or something like that. Like you think about Annie Hall, it's basically a guy meets a girl at a bar and he goes through his life with her. Whereas Robin Williams would do something similar. It would be a story about a guy that gets sent to Vietnam and is now a radio DJ. And he would turn it into something more simply through his personality.
Yeah. I think there was a reason that Patch Adams was popular at launch, and I think it had very little to do with the movie. I think it totally had a lot to do with Robin Williams.
Oh, it totally does. Like
you come away feeling like you've bonded with someone, and you're hesitant to label that as being a poor experience. So even when he wasn't putting on his best job, he succeeded at something that a lot of other people struggle at. I mean,
his characters are so relatable in that sense. It's weird.
Even when they should be very difficult to relate to. I mean, if you think about it, what is Mrs. Doubtfire about? It's about an estranged father
who never grew up.
Well, we'll get to that. Who essentially breaks the law circumvents the law by dressing up as a woman and getting hired as the babysitter for his own kids so he can spend time with them. This is not the kind of character you would naturally relate to. Think about it.
What a cross-dressing dude.
He's technically playing a cross-dressing criminal.
Yeah.
This is the kind of person in real life who you would most likely call the cops on. But Robin Williams makes you identify with that character, which is not a small task, really.
It's a very hard task. It's only done through careful direction. He manages to do it simply through personality and acting.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that really defines how good he was as an actor.